everybody. Welcome to A Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. As you know, we are now in month 9 of the coronavirus lockdown here in America, which is why I'm still not back in my theater and don't have an audience and have resorted to using old sitcom sound effects to make me feel less alone. Thank you, sympathetic audience from Designing Women in 1987. You always make me feel like Delta Burke. And I may not have a real audience for a while because coronavirus infections in this country are at the highest they've ever been. And because of that, there are still massive travel restrictions for Americans all around the globe. For example, without a test, I am banned from entering the country of Chile. I still can't go to my local Chili's, and I am banned from eating chili. That's not a COVID-related, that's just an agreement I have with my coworkers. All of these travel restrictions got me thinking about my last big trip last year when I traveled down under, then a bit over to the right, for my special series, The Newest Zealander. And I really wish I could be down there now because, as you may have heard, they have had one of the most successful pandemic responses in the world. With a population of roughly 5 million people, so far New Zealand has had just 25 deaths and roughly 2,000 cases, or as America calls it, a White House Christmas party. Well, since I can't return to New Zealand in person tonight, I'm going to return in my memory. And luckily, my memory comes with a lot of videotape. You see, after last year's trip, there was just too much exciting footage to show it all. In fact, there was so much extra material that earlier this year, we began gathering new segments and recording behind-the-scenes features to put together a special. But when the pandemic hit, we had to stop down and save all of that stuff until the time was right, which is apparently never going to arrive. So we decided to do it tonight. We're revisiting those bygone times and celebrating New Zealand with a special episode I'm calling Return to New Zealand, a magical land where hugs still happen. Kia ora. New Zealand has so successfully contained transmissions that much of life there has all but returned to normal, and they're even safely attending sporting events and crowded music festivals. But this is still New Zealand, so those crowds are mostly sheep. So how has New Zealand successfully contained the virus while other countries struggled? Well, for starters, they have an advantage of being a small, remote island nation. It's much easier to control entry when your only border is the ocean, and transmission rates are evidently very low amongst giant squid. But a lot of the success has come down to the New Zealanders themselves. In fact, according to the medical journal Lancet Public Health, the keys to New Zealand's success have been decisive governance, effective communication, and high population compliance, though the U.S. came close with just 0 of those 3 things. And much of the credit for decisive governance goes to New Zealand Prime Minister and seashore detective Jacinda Ardern. Of course, I've long been a fan of Prime Minister Ardern since she personally invited me to visit, picked me up at the airport, drove me around Auckland, and then invited me to join her family and Lord for a barbecue. That's right, I was greeted by the Prime Minister and the nation's biggest pop star. Your move, Justin Trudeau and Michael Bublé. So I was already impressed by the Prime Minister, but my admiration went up a notch or two when I learned that she had handled the pandemic with a strategy that relies on science and empathy, both things our current president considers a hoax. Early on in the pandemic, she closed New Zealand's borders to nearly all non-residents and instituted a lockdown so severe that even retrieving a lost ball from a neighbor's yard was banned. That's how thorough their plan was. It even included laws that only apply to Dennis the Menace. Now, if you're thinking that America could learn something about dealing with the pandemic from New Zealand, you're not alone. Last month, Prime Minister Ardern said she put President-elect Biden in touch with New Zealand's health officials in order to share tactics of how to battle the pandemic. Thanks for the help, Jacinda Ardern. We should team up and call ourselves Joe-Cinda or Bidern or something cooler like the Go-Getters. Come on, Jack, Cinda. Jacinda Ardern is so good at multitasking, she actually gave birth to a daughter while she was in office. And then, and this is the shocking part, she did not immediately make that child responsible for negotiating Middle East peace. Recently, her handling of the pandemic led Ardern to an impressive landslide re-election. But even more impressive is that despite having to delay the election due to COVID and having a ballot referendum on euthanasia, New Zealand's election season was reportedly low-key, not a horror show, and even boring. Oh, boring. Doesn't that sound exciting? Honestly, New Zealand sounds like a perfect place right now. Not only is it safe and has compassionate and capable leaders, they're also filming a Lord of the Rings series that might contain nudity. Of course, real Lord of the Rings fans like me don't need to see these characters nude when they've already been imagining them that way since middle school. Nice ass, Smeagol. When I went to New Zealand, you didn't think I was going to say Smeagol, did you? You thought I was going to say Gandalf or Aragorn or somebody easy. When I went to New Zealand, there were times like I was stepping into the past. But I look at it now and I'm hopeful that New Zealand might actually be our future, our normal, full-contact future. Here's a fun fact. They're actually 18 hours ahead of us. They are literally living in tomorrow. And hopefully, they're also living the life we here in America could be living 5 or 6 months from now. A magical life of civic cooperation for the common good. Let's hope that we catch up to them on that one very soon. As for now, let us return to New Zealand through the magic of videotape. Up first, you may remember that I bungee jumped off a bridge last October. Tonight, I want to show you the behind-the-scenes drama of my producers convincing me that I had to do that because New Zealanders invented bungee jumping, and it was truly a life-changing experience. I'm sorry, a pants-changing experience. Jim? My producers had it in their mind that it would be great for me to jump off a bridge with rubber bands tied to my ankles. And I saw the appeal of that. I understand that you want your star to eventually jump off a 140-meter bridge down toward the gorge, capture the fear on his face for the entertainment of the American people. But I warned them that I probably wasn't going to do it because I really don't like heights. Okay, that's the bungee bridge?
Yep, that's ridiculous.
Okay, that kind of language isn't necessary. I just get this clutching feeling in my groin, and not the good kind. Just this terrible, cold, empty feeling inside my body when I think about heights. So we land, and we got this beautiful vista from a distance to look at the bridge to see where I'm gonna, spend my last few moments on this planet. Just cards on the table. I'm not a huge fan of heights. Or drops, really. I'm scared. I'm scared. This is not an act. If you want to know what I'm like without the cameras on, that's what I'm like. Very anxious. Okay. Let's go out. Go out. Let's take a look. Don't stop rolling for any reason, please. I just asked you guys to never stop rolling, to especially capture how much I didn't like it and my displeasure at having to do it. Jake, for your piece, for the structure of this piece, it would be good if I jumped off this bridge, right?
Yes.
It'd be a good conclusion of this piece. You and Paige, who have worked so hard on this trip, and everybody else, I'm not saying just the two of you, but it would be a great, climax to this if I jumped off that bridge.
Yes, big
I have been clear with you, though, how I feel about heights, right?
You've said you're very afraid of them.
Have I? I haven't pulled my punches at all like
No.
this. Okay. Thanks, Jake.
You're welcome.
Okay. I was afraid I would do it, and I was afraid I wouldn't do it. And then we wouldn't have an end to the piece.
You want to sign them in real quick and get the weight?
Yep.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Let's get off the bridge. So I came up with a backup plan on the spot, which is to have somebody else do it. I think you get 2 bites at the apple if somebody else jumps with my fleecy on or something that looks like it's me. Why don't we just dress somebody up in my outfit and that person jumps instead, and we fake it and make it look like me. And Chris Licht was right there, and I went, how about you? What about you?
What's that?
What about you jumping?
I'll jump.
And he was totally ready to do it. So he did it. That's how you run a show, folks. Got to be willing to jump off a bridge.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow. That really looks like I jumped off a bridge. So he did it. So Chris jumped. And I said, how was it? And he said, not that bad. And I said, okay. Just over, right? Can I take a look? Yeah. Hey, Cam. And so they strap me in, they sit you down, and they wrap your ankle with a terry cloth towel. I'm expecting some sort of Kevlar booty or something like that. They're just taking like something from Target and wrapping around your ankles. I just want to be clear, my safe word is pumpkin patch. And I assume they know what they're doing. One has to assume that they know what they're doing. What else are you gonna do? All right, what happens next? Right. So I stood up, I went to the gangplank. Okay.
That's the one.
And you're waiting till your toes are just beyond the edge. Am I there?
A little bit further, please, Steve.
Yep.
Nearly there. That's awesome. Hands up on this one. Eyes up on the bridge. Deep breath. On my countdown, diving off. Enjoy.
And they say 5, 4, 3, and on like 3, the guy put his hands on my back. And I said, don't push me.
4,
don't push me.
3.
Yeah, we edited that out. Don't push me. And then you lean forward and give it a little bunny hop forward, and then straight down. As you accelerate 32 feet per second, the jade water starts to rush and you close your eyes right when the bungee starts to engage. And then you stretch down, you pop up. And after that, well, you know everything's fine. You know it worked, and you're not gonna die.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I should have gone to law school.
Then they lower you into the raft. And that's the best moment for me, is when you're on the bottom of the raft and you're untied, because the sides of the raft are these 2 big yellow arms around you like they're hugging you. And you know, as terrifying as it was to contemplate, once I did it, I don't ever want to do it again. Thanks, Stephen. When we come back, I'll take you behind the scenes of my epic day spent filming a Lord of the Rings trailer with Peter Jackson.